Okay, let's write some musical ideas using Scaler 2, and that's exactly what we have set up here on this track. If I play a key, you can hear this. I have strings set up on the Orchestra Complete to make it quick and easy to write some musical ideas. So Scaler is driving that string patch from the Orchestra Complete. And the DAW is set up at 120. Let's make our first musical decision by changing that to 100 beats per minute. Right now, normally we write in 4/4 time, which you can see here is 4 beats in a bar of music. Now let's change that, make it a little more interesting. If you look at the grid, instead of 4/4 time, let's double click on our time signature track and say we're going to write in 6/8 time today. You see the grid has changed to reflect that, and we can just drag that now to say 5 bars of music there, measures of music. And now, having made some musical ideas with time signature and beats per minute, we can decide now on what scales we want and key. So generally for orchestral, I like D, so let's keep things simple for our first video using these ideas for Scaler. So we'll go with D major, and so we can listen. So that's the scale we're dealing with. Very nice, bright, heroic, kind of happy. And that's exactly what it says here: happy, light, bright, and positive. So that's where we're starting. But we're going to tell our story, and it's not going to be all happy. As we know, life can be not always perfect. And that's what our story is going to reflect. So we can go to modulation tab, and we have our first pattern called up here, and we could have many patterns and ideas. We could say, we could use secondary, we could use any one of these ideas. Let's go with Neo-Romanian, and let's turn off maintain voicing. I find you get more interesting chords if you turn that off. That's just my opinion. So that's kind of what we're going to write with today, using that idea. D major to start with, something bright. So that's how our story is starting, on a positive note. D major. So let's drag that down, and the day is bright and blue skies. What happens a little bit later? A little question on the horizon with a D minor, but it's not definitive enough. Let's try something else. Okay, so now we have happy with the D major to F sharp minor. A little bit of a question of will it stay happy? Well, let's try something else. Oh, still happy and hopeful. That B minor is very hopeful. Oh, the G minor is ominous. That's ominous. Oh, that's hard work ahead. D sharp minor. That's just kind of, that's how my ears hear things. So happy. Yeah, kind of happy, maintaining, and then could be trouble right there. So let's go drag. We're going to start happy. We're going to go, okay, maintaining. The day's still hopeful to, trouble right there. And then what's going to happen? Let's search how we're going to resolve this tale. Oh, very too happy. let's just drag that kind of ominous D sharp minor and see. So we got kind of like that idea where it's we're prevailing, we're fighting, but we're prevailing, and the result is a resolved let's see if we can resolve a little nicer. Try that. Why don't I resolve as something that may be a little more interesting? Maybe an inversion of that, which will change later. So here's their story so far. So, happy day, we're still fighting, happy day, trouble, we're working through it, bright, and victory. But the victory we're going to make a little brighter with an inversion of that later, but let's, the conflict in the middle here, I'm going to try and make that a little better. I'm going to change that and see how it goes now. Okay, I like that for an idea. So let's now say that's our pattern 1 idea. Let's use this button and make a new pattern, and let's activate it and start fresh, clear this, and quickly come up with another story to tell. Oh, I like that as a beginning, like a kind of a yearning hope. I like that. But now we need some conflict. So we got, no, that's not working. That's too much of a resolve there. Okay, let's resolve it with the D major. So let's see. That's not quite right. That's a little better, I think. Still not quite right in my head. Not bad, but let's see if we can make that even better. That's a different take on that. Let's drag that down. Let's go. still kind of a question. That's resolving. So let's remove that. Now let's try that. Now when we drag this out in the DAW, I think I'm going to make a bridge over to this chord a little better. It's a little abrupt. We'll see how we can lead into that better. It almost feels like there should be another chord in between there. That's not that one. Not that. Oh, let's try. No. Where could we go from there? We tried that one. Let's drag in some new ideas here. Very ominous there. Let's try that. The only question I might have in the DAW is the transition from the C minor to the G minor. The resolution sounds good, so that'll be another idea we could go with. So let's try our first pattern again. Trying to decide between the two. I think we'll go with this one. So in the next segment, we're going to drag it into the DAW and we're going to start to voice lead it together a little better, create a bass track from it, and just take it from there. Alright, so let's bring in these chords, but before we drag these in, let's make sure that under settings, we've got it set to a beat that's long enough to bring in long sustained chords. Usually 2 beats or 4 beats would give you full 4/4 measures on 4 beats, but since we're a 3/8 time signature, let's try 3 beats. Click off of there and let's lasso these chords and drag them into our sus strings track. And we can move this out of the way. And we can click on the chords and we see them, and since we have a chord track ready here, we can obviously add a chord track helper and double click, set that to D major, which is the chord and scale or the key and scale we're at. And now this changes color because we have this set up to chord track color helper. So these notes will keep us in line. Red notes are out of scale and key, green notes are in scale and key, and the blue notes here are just in the scale. So that helps us when we're editing. Alright, so let's just listen to it as we dragged it in and see what we got. Sometimes there's differences when you drag in chords from different programs. Yeah, so in Scaler this transition was sounding a lot better and this transition was sounding better, but we can fix that. So inside Cubase, under the chord editing tab, we have helpers, inversions, and different ways to deal with chords. I think we want to keep these chord ideas because they're good, but we want to invert them up. So let's invert this up, and let's invert that one up. And now it should sound better as they're going to, translate better from this chord. So let's listen. Okay, that's a lot better. And right away now we can start thinking about a bass track, since we have our chords sounding not too bad, but there's no rhythm, no movement yet. But first things first, let's take this track, copy it down to our bass track. Let's get rid of the top chord notes, just delete those out, delete those out. Now let's listen to it with a basic bass sound, with the bass set up with a cello and double bass marcato articulation. And let's unmute it first. Okay, pretty bland right off the go with this track. So we need to go back to the beginning and really work with a little bit of interest in rhythm. First of all, these two chords in the bass, just going from one to translating right into the next, is way too bland, not musical. So let's change that down and let's listen to that. Way better. Okay, we still got more work to do. Let's introduce a little bit of rhythm into this just by having the marcatos re-engage on each beat, the same beat of each measure here. And now let's listen to it with a little bit of what should be a little bit of a retake on the marcato attack. Okay, so not only did we have a more interesting change here in note, but now the rhythm is starting to get more interesting. So one more time. Good, so let's make this marcato hit a little stronger on the velocity. Same here, just a touch. And the same one here, just that we really hear that second engagement of the marcato. All right. Good, liking that. And let's go back up to the sustains up here, strings. This too could add a little bit of rhythm and maybe some new interest. This transition up here is a little bit weak with the strings, so let's try cutting it and adding a little bit of rhythm in there too. I'm thinking maybe about there, and maybe if we drop this note, it won't be such a bland transition to the next, but still stay musical. Let's just listen to that bit. Like that. So there's a little bit of a little bit of movement there, and it's a more interesting transition between these two notes, I believe. So we'll keep that. Now let's quickly just add some rhythm, and let's do it in a different way. So let's turn on our shorts, and for our shorts track, we don't have any MIDI data in there, but a quick way to just add some rhythm, one way to do it would be to use your step and just step in some 16th or 8th notes to give some rhythm. But let's turn that off and let's just do a little quicker idea with, let's see. Let's bring in some, if we go inside of the Orchestra Complete, one of the settings is you can set it to 6/8 time, different time signatures, right? And so if we just set up a 6/8 time signature with some strings and listen, there's a chance we can get something interesting going on here. We're going to have to do some editing. So let's, again, copy this down. And I think what we're going to do is just, we'll play it, but it's going to be muddy with all these notes. But let's just start getting an idea of what we have. Well, let's take some of these notes off. And all right, let's go back and delete the top notes. Get rid of that transition because we have rhythm happening inside this patch here, so we don't need to add rhythm inside the notes. And let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. And let's see where our bass transition is. So if we look at our bass transition, it's right there. So if we keep that idea here in the rhythm track now, maybe stop it there. Let's go back. And if we turn down the sustains a little bit, and turn them down a little bit, we'll hear the rhythms a little better. Might not even need that note in there, but just to give us an idea of some rhythm. And we could do something here, maybe put in a little arpeggiation or something of interest. But the video's already gone on for probably over half an hour. So let's just end it here and say that, well, we've got an idea. We started in Scaler, quickly went and just created some chord progressions that we liked. We dragged it in, quickly created a bass track, had the sustained strings. We changed that. We did some inversions up. We did a little edit here. And for the bass, we just added a little bit of interest with some rhythm, but we could easily start messing with rhythm. We might even just make this all rhythm like that. We could just test that, and you could basically just keep trying different things. So let's just try that really quick. And we could take the marcatos, and since we added some more interest here, it would play better now with maybe some staccatos instead of marcatos, but we could try that. See, it's a lot more interesting now. And then we could work on the ending with maybe a flourish of something, and that still needs work there. But you can see how just quickly coming up with a musical idea, deciding what key, tempo, and in this case, a new time signature, one we haven't tried before. So this is idea one for our scalar musical ideas. So I think I'll create some more in this kind of a series of these. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day and evening wherever you're at.